This is a continuation of our homework set 12 on factoring trinomials. Question 11 asks us to factor this trinomial, 3r squared plus 17r plus 10. Now the first thing I look for when I'm going to factor r is this. I ask myself, are there any common factors? Well, between 3, 17, and 10, there's no one number other than 1. There's no number that divides into each of those. There's two r's here, one r here, no r's here. So no common factors. So I'm going to write two sets of parentheses, anticipating that I can factor it. Now, what about this 3r squared? Well, I got an r squared, so I know I'm going to have an r here and an r here. There's only one way to get a 3. That's a 3 and a 1. So I'm going to write this as 3r and r, or if you like, you could write r and 3r. Now, I'm going to look for the factors of 10, but it's more than just the factors of 10 that add together to give 17, because one of those is going to be multiplied by that 3. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write this as 3, I can write as 3 times 1, and that 10 I can write as 10 times 1, 5 times 2. Now look for some combination that is some combination of these and these is going to give us, if I put here, if I gives us that 17. Now, like here's what I'm asking. Do I use the 3 and the 1? Well, I have to use the 3 and the 1, but do I use the 10 and the 1 or the 5 and the 2? So here's the question. Do I use 10 and 1 or 5 and 2? Now, I don't really know. But here's a little hint. It doesn't always work, but it usually does, because that's just the way these problems are written. I'm going to start with the pair that's closest together. So I'm going to try this one down here. Now, just run a quick check. Is there a chance, I know I can get to 10, is there a chance of getting this 17 with this setup here? We'll look at the outer product and the inner product. The outer product is 6. The inner product is 5. 6 and 5, I cannot get a 17 out of a 6r and a 5r. So this combination here is not going to work. But don't give up yet on that 5 and the 2, because I don't know which set of parentheses to put that 5 in and which one the 2. So I put them here first. I put the 3, the 5 and the 3 together. What if I put the 2 over here? All right, so I'll put the 2 over here and the 5 over here. Put the 2 here and the 5 here. Just switch positions, because at first I don't know where they go. So what about now? Is there a chance? Look at the outer product and the inner product. The outer product is 15r, and the inner product is 2r. 15 and 2. Sure enough, I can get a 17 out of that. I just have to get the signs right. So look at what we have here. It's positive 10, and because it's positive, these two numbers here have to have the same sign, right? Same sign gives me a positive. And what is that? Just look at the middle term. That'll tell us it's a plus sign. So right here, I'm going to put a plus and a plus. Now just run a quick check. 3r times r is 3r squared. There we are. And the outer and inner product, 15r and 2r is that 17r right here. That's what we're looking for. And positive 2 times positive 5 is positive 10. So we've got it. So I'm going to call this a method of good guesses. I just have to make some good guesses, like, what combination up here is going to work. Let's try this number 12. Now, I see nothing in common, right, between 6, 7, and 2. There's no number that divides all of these, and there's no r in each term. So let's start by writing our set of parentheses, thinking that we can do this. And now I notice that this is a 6 out here, not a 1. If it was a 1, it'd be pretty straightforward. But now there's more to look at. So how am I going to get that 6? Well, I'll do it over here. A 6 I could get with a 6 and a 1, or a 3 and a 2. Now I don't know right off which pair I'm going to use. But this 2 out here, you see that 2 at the tail end there? There's only one way to get that 2, a 2 and a 1. All right, so now what I have to look at is which combination should I use? This one and this one? All right, I'll circle them. Should I use this and this? Or should I use this and this? Well, I always try to pair this closest together. It doesn't always work, but it works more often than not. So I'm going to try this pair, this one with this one. So here's my plan. I'm going to go with the 3r and the 2r, right? I have an r squared, so I need an r and an r, and I need a 6, so I'm going with the 3 and the 2. Now, the only way to get this 2 here, the only way to get that 2 is with that 2 and a 1. But here's what I know for sure. So first I'm asking, okay, where do I put the 2 and where do I put the 1? Do I put the 2 here and the 1 here? Or do I put the 1 here and the 2 here? I don't know until I give it a little bit of thought. And here's what I know. The 2 cannot go here, because if I put the 2 here, there would be 2's in common. Now, there's nothing in common right originally. Nothing in common here. I cannot have something suddenly pop up in common. So I can't have anything in common here, so the 2 cannot go here. So the 2 has to go over here. So I'd have to use a 2 and a 1. Now, before we go any further with the signs, just run a quick check to see if this could possibly work. Look at the outer product and the inner product. All right, the outer product is 3r. The inner product is 2r, is 4r, right? 3r and 4r, I can get a 7 out of a 3 and a 4, so it looks like we've got it. And this sign here is positive, so these two numbers have the same sign, which is at plus 7. So I'm going to make both of them plus and plus. Now, 13 looks very much like 12. Look at, we've got the 6r squared, we've got the 2 over here, right? I got the 2's, I got the 6r squared, but the middle term is different. So I don't see anything common. So let's write our parentheses. Now for that 6, I can still use a 6 and a 1, or a 3 and a 2, I don't know which one yet. And the 2, only one way to get it, the 2 and the 1. Now, I'm going to try to pair this closest together. So again, I'm going to go with this and this, just because this 3 and the 2 are closer together than the 6 and the 1. So I'm going to write 3r and 2r. Now, only one way to get that 2, remember, and remember that the 2 cannot go here because I'd have 2's in common, and there's nothing in common to begin with, so something cannot pop up in common. So the only way the 2 and the 1 will work is this, the 2's over here. So the 2 and the 1, but now, look at this sign. This is a negative sign, or a minus sign. That means these two numbers, the 2 and the 1, have to have opposite signs. Okay, one has to be plus, one has to be minus. So which one's which? Where do I put the plus? Where do I put the minus? So here's how I tell. Look at this middle sign. It's a plus. Now I'm going to put that plus sign with the bigger product. Now just look at our products down here. What is the outer product? What's the inner product? The outer product is 3r. Right? Multiply them together. You get 3r. The inner product is bigger. That's 4r. So I got 3r on the out, 4r on the in. The 4r is bigger. So I'm going to put the plus sign with the bigger of those two products. So I'm going to put the plus sign here, the minus sign here. Now, what happens? What do we get when we do this? I'm going to get negative 3r and plus 4r. And when I add those together, I just get, not r in this case. I'm sorry, these are supposed to be y's. Well, they're r's now. So it's going to be an r. I'm still thinking of question 12. All right, so that's what I want here. But I don't want y, so I'll rewrite this. Here's what it's supposed to be. I wrote r instead of y. It's supposed to be 3y plus 2, 2y minus 1. Question 14, we've got y's and a's. So I've got two variables here. I see nothing in common, right? 6, 1, and 1. There's not a y in each one, and there's not an a in each one. So I'm going to start by writing my parentheses, anticipating I can do this. And now I come to this 6y squared. Now I know that I'm going to have a y and a y. But what do I want to use for that 6? Do I want to use 6 and 1, or do I want to use 3 and 2? And then over here, we just have a 1, right? You don't write it, but there's a 1 here. So there's only one way to get a 1. That's a 1. So I'm going to have an a and an a. That's the only way I can get that a squared. But what do we put here? A 6 and a 1, or a 3 and a 2? Now I'm going to use the pair that's closest together. It's just that I found that that typically works. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to put a 3 here and a 2 here. Now before we go any further, just run a quick check to see if there's a chance this could work. What I'm looking for is a 1YA, or 1AY, 1YA or 1AY. Now look at the outer product. This outer product is what? 3YA. This inner product is 2YA, right? AY or YA, it doesn't matter. And I can get a 1 out of that, right? Can you get a 1 out of this? You can if you subtract this one minus this one. Now there's a chance that this could work because we got a minus here. And if that's a minus, these two numbers here, the a, have to have opposite signs. So what do we put here? Plus or minus? Plus or minus? So here's how we tell. Look for the bigger product. I'm going to put this middle minus sign with the bigger product. Now, the inner product was 2YA. The outer product was 3YA. This is bigger. So I'm going to associate it with this one. Now that's with this one here. I'll put the minus here. That would give me a minus 3AY. So I'll put the minus over here and the plus over here. Now, does that work? Just check it. What do we get? We get 3y times 2y, 6y squared. And then I get negative 3ya, right? Positive times negative is negative 3ya plus 2ya. Well, negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. And then positive a times negative a is negative a squared. So this is our factored form right here. And that finishes our factoring trinomial questions 11 through 14 in homework set 12.